Probably this off. I mean, you're lucky to say we're still working on papers.
Hey, all right, it's September 5th, 2023 at 5:45 p.m. We're going to call this finance committee meeting to order. Council members present are Lang, Shute, Barker, Hauser, and Marmee. First item, the unappropriated balance of the general fund is at $873,630, and the cash balance of the budget stabilization is at $1,572,430. First item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Newark to prepare and submit to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development a one-year use of funds action plan along with an application for fiscal year 2024 federal community development block grant funds as required by 24 CFR Part 91.220 for various programs related to housing and community development.
This is the annual resolution that we request approval of. We will be using the 2023 allocation of $746,544 for planning purposes. We traditionally allocate to economic development, housing, public facilities, admin and planning, as well as a category that's called other, which covers clearance and demo and code enforcement.
Motion. Second. I have a motion by Lang, second by Barker. Any questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send some on full council, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation amount of $6,565. This is for ISP and JRIG grants.
So the first one said 3,000 for the general fund. Are we gonna do that first?
Wait a minute, this is the order thing in here. I gotta go back to the. Yeah, we'll do the 3,000.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is a request for $3,000 for interpreter fees. Just to give you some background information before you vote on this. We budgeted for $4,500 for interpreters. Through this day today, we've spent $4,220. We've had 15 probation that needed interpreter services. They're quite expensive. They're anywhere from $255 to $350 per event. So out of those 14 people, out of the 14 out of 15 that we've had, 14 of them have been of Nepali descent. So we're just here asking for more money because we're going to continue to see other folks with different nationalities come in, and we have no way to communicate with them.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. questions and discussion, Mr. Ryan?
I think just curious, so you said we got, is it 14 or 15?
We've had, just probation, I've had 15 probationers that have come in for, basically it's intake appointments to do probation, so we have an interpreter.
How does that compare to your usual numbers? I'm just trying to get a sense for why we're so much
It's
higher.
really high. So in the past, like last year, our budget was only $1,200. So it's, I mean, it's skyrocketing. I foresee it being even worse next year.
So something we need to think about for
Yeah,
next year's budget.
the court, the judge just shared me what they're spending. I mean, it's way more than us. So, I mean, we're seeing lots of different folks come into court. In order for them to access justice, they have to have an interpreter. I mean, there's no way we could communicate with them. So we're considered an ancillary service through the court. Probation is, so the court's required to provide folks or interpreters if they in fact need that, if they can't speak English.
Are there any things we could be doing as this continues to grow to mitigate those costs?
Now, I have reached out to the Supreme Court of Ohio. They have a list of interpreters, but it's, for instance, for Nepali, I think they had 2 or 3 for the whole entire state. So everybody's, you can imagine how busy those people are. So what we do is we have 3 different companies that we use for interpreter services that are more local. So you can get folks come in. They also have a telephonic service available, but and that's free, but there's a bunch of hoops to jump through to get involved with that. But the problem with that is they said if it's complicated, then that wouldn't be the best route to go. So when they come in for a probation intake appointment, it takes roughly an hour. We're doing assessments and all kinds of different things and speaking with somebody over the telephone in that type of situation. So we're looking into it, but as of right now, the only way we've done to do this is contract with the companies that we use that come over. We pay the service, they sit there, they'll interpret. We've also looked into document conversion for Nepali folks for intake packet. I know that will save time, but it's expensive. I just got a quote for $2,000 to convert one document. So, you know, we can look into that. It's expensive. I don't know how much time that would save, but according to the interpreters, and it's in this, you know, we've got this information not just from the person that gave us the estimate, but they said it would save time in those appointments. So that I'm looking at.
Any further questions? So a couple of them, and I asked you over the phone.
Yeah.
So these cannot be incorporated into any kind of fees, according to what the law director has indicated, correct?
Not that I know of, if there is a pot of money somewhere, I'd like to know where it is.
Well, the biggest thing is these are Licking County cases and not Newark, and Newark is not put in the bill. And as you indicated, even if they no-show, we still have to pay.
Yeah, so let me explain. So the probation department for many years has had an agreement with the county commissioners. So it's really an agreement between the mayor and the county commissioner, but they've paid 40% of the general fund's probation budget for years. So really, it's not the city's sole responsibility, it's the city and the county. So it's a 60-40 split. The city pays 60 and the county pays 40. So the city's not completely on the hook for this bill that county has paid. And I can't go over to the commissioners and ask them to start paying specific line items for our budget. It doesn't work that way. And we reworked this agreement about 6 years ago. And basically the fees that we bring in from probationers paying, it kind of discounts it off. So if it's the 60-40 split is based on, if we bring in, if it's 100,000 and then we bring in $10,000 of probation fees, it's on the $90,000. So it'd be 60-40 split on the 90. So they are assisting, and there's nothing in the revised code that says the county has to help us. They don't have to pay us a dime. So the jurisdiction for our court's county jurisdiction. So we appreciate them recognizing that it's county jurisdiction and that they're willing to pay us. It's basically a reimbursement. We send them a general fund expense, itemized expenses each quarter, and then they'll reimburse us.
I guess the biggest concern is if we do not curtail this or find some kind of way to remediate it or mitigate it in some fashion, it's just gonna get to a point where it's gonna be astronomical.
Oh, I agree.
And so, I guess my ask is, that we do something now, that we don't wait until, 3 years down the road. And we need to find some plausible solutions to make sure that we're providing the service that is required by law.
Mhm.
But yet curtailing the costs, in particular, why we have to pay when they no show. And if there's no consequence to them no showing, and we still have to pay those interpreter fees.
Well, we had him, the administrative judge is here and maybe he could speak to this, but we had a case where we filed a motion to revoke somebody's probation and attempt to get the court to order restitution back. And per law, and judge, please speak on this behalf if you would, but he could not order restitution to be paid, and he can tell you why that is.
Your Honor, is there a reason for it?
Yeah, Supreme Court says so.
Okay.
So the rule of superintendents, it's rule 84, right, or 89. So this was a mandate that came down, gosh, at least probably 7 or 8 years ago. And the rules of superintendents govern all the operation of all courts across the entire state of Ohio. Common pleas, municipal, county courts, mayor's court, courts of appeals, et cetera, et cetera. And basically it said courts will provide translator interpreting services to English deficient defendants and may not assess the cost of the interpretation services to the defendant in any way. And so it's an unfunded mandate, and it would be nice if the Supreme Court was as generous with interpreter funds as it was with technology grants during the pandemic. But until and unless the state starts to pitch in for this, unfortunately, it's going to fall on the funding authorities of each court. And by law, the city of Newark is the funding authority for the Licking County Municipal Court, even though it has countywide jurisdiction. So,
But does it stipulate which type of interpreted services we provide? Can it not be electronic or, some kind of AI?
it really comes down to feasibility. I don't think the technology is up to par. I mean, I've done one jury trial with an Nepali interpreter, and we were there till about 7 o'clock on a relatively simple OVI case. Trying to use unproven technology, I think would have kept us there probably till midnight or had to go a second day. So I can appreciate what the city's position is as far as wanting to get a handle on this. We've had informal conversations, do we want to hire somebody as a full-time interpreter? Well, that's great, but number one, they're going to have vacations and you're going to still need interpreting services. If it's a domestic violence, you have to get an interpreter for both the defendant and the victim, if the victim's also English deficient. And so I'm all for trying to figure out more affordable ways or efficient ways to provide the service. But I mean, I'm open to suggestion at this point.
Sure. I just think it's something we need to discuss for the future. And I know that, he had indicated to me over the phone that your costs are even
Maybe
a
I want
lot
to take a guess.
higher. Yeah. So,
$63,946.92.
right. So, yeah,
And we're not coming to you for money because we budgeted even more than
right,
so. But the way things are going, who knows? I might be seeing you guys in the summer.
right. Very good. All right. Any further questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is request for appropriation amount of $6,565.
And so these are all in reference to our grants. So the first two are in reference to the grants that we're closing out. And the state is going to one grant application, which we applied for and we've already received it. So the first grant is our ISP bill diversion grant. We spent all the money except for $457. We need to give that back because it's the state's money. The second one is for our Justice Reinvestment Incentive Grant. We spent all the money except for the $5,272.04. We need to give that back. And then the last one is an appropriation for $835.96. we need that for assessments for our offenders.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on the full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation amount of $74,100.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of council. First item, the $32,000, when we came forth with the budget late last fall, early in the winter, the contractors were at the beginning of the year. We had only budgeted for one sick leave conversion. After the contract was done, 2 were awarded. Therefore, we need to come back for some more money as folks are allowed to for sick time now twice a year in this contract. Your other item with the quartermaster, don't need that much money to be moved back to the general fund.
Oral for motion. Section 3.
Okay, section 3, 74,000, motion by Lang, second by Hauser. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Entertain a motion for the 32,000 now.
Second.
Motion by Schutz, second by Lang. Any further questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation amount of $22,241.
Yes, this is simply just brought in more money than was estimated, so we asked if you appropriate this, so we get it to the downtown district.
Motion by Lang, second by Hauser. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation amount of $7,712.50.
Yes, last year, we advanced money over to this JAG grant to get it out of the red. There is money now to return this to the general fund where it came from. So we would ask for your support.
Second.
Motion by Lang, there was a second, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor to send us on full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation amount of $520,000.
Yes, the following requests that are coming up are to fund the salary accounts with the raises that were just given from, salaries, benefits, just everything on down the line. So that covers the rest of these. Obviously, Ask Me is still out there. Question that I think it's, or I guess I'll give you an answer to the question that you might ask. Assuming you approve this, which I don't think there's probably a whole lot of choice, that would take your unappropriated balance down 546,000, just a little bit north of there. Okay, so I know when you're planning for Ask Me, and not to jump the gun, but Mr. Rhodes has a request that for a new boiler system that the police department needs, especially coming up with winter here. So that would take it down to around 415 where your unappropriated balances. So just jumping the gun, but he's going to come with a request for the unappropriated balance. So just want to try to make you prepared.
Thank you. Second. Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Mr.
Appreciate you staying ahead of that and give me the ARPA fund before I ask.
You ready for it? I knew you were going to ask. You ready? Right now, I'm assuming that you approve Mr. Bach's request, the unappropriated balance fee, $172,175.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion passes 5-0. The next one is a request for appropriation in an amount of $161,570. This is also for the same thing.
Motion.
Motion by Barker. Second by Lang. Questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, send this on full council, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation $3,427.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send this on full council, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion passes 5-0. Next one is an appropriation $10,347.
Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is $9,623.
Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion passes 5-0. Next one's $11,313.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Any questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next one is the request for $4,668.
Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item is the amount of $14,081.
Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item is a request for appropriation amount of $7,709.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation of $124,779.
Motion.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is request appropriation amount of $58,179.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same side. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is request appropriation amount of $10,800.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item is appropriation for $16,384.
Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Next item on the agenda is request for appropriation $49,896.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation for the amount of $17,263.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. A motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda, request for appropriation $5,662.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is request for appropriation amount of $75,000.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is an appropriation for, from the HODAG fund, which is administered, through the Department of Development.
Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. A motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is request for appropriation of $2,366.25.
This it pertains to fire's EMS grant. There was an increase in the grant award.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? It's always good to give extra money. Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. A motion passes 5-0.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I want to make sure this went through. Section 7, where you have the, first responders retention incentives. Did that go through when Ryan was up here for $520,000 for police and fire?
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, it did.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation amount of $130,000.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the police department, which incidentally, that building was built 18+ years ago, there are two boiler systems. One is a main boiler, one is a backup boiler system. Both systems are in need of work and repair. What we're proposing right now is to replace one of them. I'd like to do it pretty quick. Johnson Controls is the company that has worked with us on these systems over a period of time. And the recommendation is to replace actually both of them, but at a minimum one.
Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Barker. Questions and or comments? Mr. Barker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Director Rhodes, $130,000, that is just replacing one. Is that also servicing the second one?
We're on a service agreement on those,
Okay.
but their recommendation is to replace that one also. I did get a quote on that today. It came in about 5 minutes prior to Councilman Marmy and I and Mr. Hauser having another meeting, and haven't looked at it thoroughly yet, but they did give me a quote, and that total quote amount, and I could be wrong, somewhere around 210,000, but I wasn't comfortable bringing that forward to you guys tonight because I hadn't had a chance to really review it.
Thank you.
Any further questions? I guess the biggest thing is review that. If it makes sense and we need to make some kind of an amendment in the future, once you've had a thorough, or if we need to just defer it to later, we want to do what's best economically.
Doug, I'll send that to you here in a little bit.
Very
I'll get a copy of that too. All right?
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
With no further questions or discussion, all those in favor, send us on full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. A motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
Mr. Chair, on comment. Just that there's a spelling error at the bottom. I potentially need to adjust it and reduce in the agenda that I received on that. The word certifying is need to adjust it.
On the agenda? Oh, okay.
Correct. It's correct. In the list.
I like that.
Yeah, it's correct in there. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Yes, just a housekeeping item.
Motion.
Motion by Barker, second by Lang. Any questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, send this on full council, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. A motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. With that, the finance committee meeting stands adjourned. Next up, I believe there's service. We never knew. So. Exactly. It should be. Right. That's. Yeah, exactly.
So public service committee meeting in order, those present are myself, Brad, Neely, Arthur, Blind, and Shute. Up first, we'll consider resolution number 23-81. Resolution authorizing and directing the director of public service for the city of Newark, Ohio to enter into a lease purchase agreement with Park National Bank for the lease purchase of one non-transport medic units for the Division of Fire. Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have 3 of these units on order. And like everything else, it's taken a long time to get items in. We have thought for a period of time and still think we might just pay cash for one of them and at least purchase the other 2. But depending on how long it takes to get in, I thought I'd go through the motions and at least get the authority from council to do a lease purchase on this 3rd one. If in fact we feel as though that's in the best interest of the city when that time comes.
I see our fire department is left, but what is a non-transport?
It's a fire truck with medical equipment on it. It's a fire truck with medical equipment on it. You can't transport somebody on it, but generally you'll see a medic truck going and a fire truck chasing something. Doug Marmy and I thought a long time about to maybe get some Suburbans to go behind there, which we're doing. But these are fire trucks.
This is like the engine.
Yep.
The large.
Fire engines, large
Fire
engines.
engine.
Yeah, they're not ladder trucks, they're fire trucks.
Any other questions from the committee?
Motion.
Second.
That is my plan. Questions from the audience? Absolutely.
Michelle Bowman Smith, 237 Violet Court. I was wondering whether Park National was giving us the best possible deal over other banks and whether that has been looked into. Thank you.
We feel as though they are, they're put it on a master lease, there's some savings with some master lease.
Any other questions? You know, all those in favor of passing this on to full council, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion will pass with a vote of 5-0. Up next, resolution 23-82, a resolution authorizing and directing the director of public service to negotiate and enter into contract without competitive bidding for purchase and installation of a new boiler for the Newark Police Department in declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We spoke about this a little bit in finance for the $130,000 we need. We're asking you to allow us to waive competitive bidding on this so we can get to work on this very quickly. And that's the reason we're asking you. And it's recommended by Johnson Controls, the group that kind of oversees the Clifton stores that we've been on a service agreement with for years.
What does Johnson Controls recommend?
They recommend that we replace at least one. I did get a second recommendation that you replace both of them. But I have not had an opportunity to go through that completely with them. I got it about 5 minutes prior to a meeting that Doug Marmy and Michael Hauser and I were gonna go into. So I haven't had a chance to thoroughly go through it, but I had mentioned to Doug later tonight, I'll send him that recommendation so he can look at that too. There might be an amendment that needed to be made on the floor of council. But I didn't want to stop everything and have to restart everything again in a couple of weeks.
Do we have a boiler that is not functioning now, or is this competitive?
They're both living along, and one of them is about dead. And that would mean that we won't actually have a main boiler and then a backup for it.
The boiler is responsible for heating. And on the hottest day of the year, you would declare emergency.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
No, sir, it does not. Why is that?
Why is that? Because we want to get it done before the cold weather sets. It takes a while to order these things. Yeah.
If we waive the emergency clause on this, where would that put us at?
November 10.
Okay,
Okay. I'm hearing where would that put us at November 10?
so if we waive the emergency clause, where would that put us at delivery time? And I'm assuming once we get it delivered, installation will be a very short period of time.
I can't honestly answer. Yeah. Because I haven't had the ability to order the other back with the supplier. You waiving the it's like gives you the authority to do that. Did you just that?
Chief McKee.
Can I answer something real quick? The boiler system runs 24/7 at our department, even in the summertime. The way the chiller system and boiler system, they work together. So it's not separate. It's not like your house where your furnace runs just in the winter time. For us, the boilers actually, the chiller sends out air at like 40 degrees and the chiller actually brings it to whatever the comfort level is. So that's how our system is set up. So the boilers actually run 24/7 to do that. So it's not just because it's 90 degrees, it wouldn't need it. These boiler systems, like I said, there's a primary and a backup and they switch back and forth. And just over the years, it's just really taken a toll. Right now, we're just throwing money. It maintained, just trying to keep it going. So it would be an emergency because they are still both running. Like it was running all day today, even though it was 97 degrees. So that's just how the system's set up.
Okay, fair enough. I just gonna, I don't want to use the emergency clause. Everybody should get by with that, or if it's for foresight, not complaining. That's all. Any other questions for the committee?
Second.
Motion by Barker. Second by Blind. Questions from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor of passing this on to council, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That will pass with a vote of 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Thank you for your input. And that concludes Finance Committee. The Service Committee is also completed. And I believe personnel is next. Oh, yeah. Technically, I was right. Get it up, Parker.
Is that? Yeah. I think you're on the level on this side of the room now. Move it over.
Not in years. Probably best.
Yes. Right. Keep moving back.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the Personnel Committee to order. Those present are myself, Lang, Shute, Barker, DeButis, and Ryan. First up, we've got ordinance 23-49. An ordinance approving, accepting, ratifying, and adopting an employment agreement between the city of Newark, Ohio, and AFSCME Local 2963, and Ohio Council 8, AFL their CIO, providing for the application of all terms, conditions, and benefits of said agreement effective January 1, 2023, repealing all ordinances, resolutions, in conflict with provision, said employment agreements, and declaring an emergency.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Hope today finds you well. This is the last of our bargaining unit agreements. This is the AFSCME bargaining unit, primarily the service sector. The tentative agreement struck aligns with the employer's compensation philosophy 4-4-4, and we'll spend 3 in the first year if there's a mutual benefit. The mutual benefit is we have reclassified a number of positions. This will allow us to retain, attract, and keep talent in the marketplace. We're not going to lead the marketplace, but we will be able to attract much better than we are now. There's a number of cleanups in here. There was some management rights we got back. We have to go if you have questions. Certainly encourage your ratification to pass on the full council, please.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. And this might be a question for you, Mr. Chair, or Majority Leader Marmy. I'm not sure. Is there a reason we're not invoking Rule 11 on this, considering the other 2 union contracts we did that on? This is the first one this year that we're putting through. Just wondering, because we normally this past year done it through Rule 11 for these contracts.
Well, I'm wondering if the timeline works with the timeline. So I don't know, what's our timeline for ratifying this, you know?
So this one, although we had scheduled a neutral, we never wanted to trial, if you will. So we have more than the traditional 7 days. I would defer to our law director for the details. It's my understanding we have 30. I would urge expediency. We have agreed to an effective date of September 1st. So anything we can do to get to there, we've calculated a ratification bonus back to January 1 on September 1st numbers. So we still got these service members are working, but not enjoying the higher wage. We'll have to figure that out the auditor's office as well. So anything we can do to expedite, certainly would appreciate that consideration.
Law director, does this need to go to Rule 11? Are we good with the emergency clause?
It was my understanding, based on Attorney DeHart's assessment of the situation, we had 14 days to bring it to council. And then I believe we have 30 days to pass. Is that correct? Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Attorney DeHart. So we are within that time period. Certainly, if council would like to get this going, I mean, that's at your discretion.
We can certainly talk to,
Yeah, I just wondered.
Majority Leader. Yeah, I mean, we can certainly talk about it. I think we could still vote on it here, and then if we wanted to do that, we could still do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll offer a motion.
Second. Got a motion by Barker, second by Labutus. Any other questions from the committee? Any questions from the audience? Okay, hearing none, we'll look to send this on to full council. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Director Spurgeon. All right. Up next, we have ordinance 23-50, an ordinance modifying the pay range for the position of street/traffic control operations manager in the city of Newark, Department of Service Division of Street Maintenance, and amending the department authorization tables and setting the compensation therefore. Director Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you guys know, this time of the year, every 3 years, we kind of look at contracts and we look at positions and we find that there's disparities in positions. What I found after looking across the tables in the service department is the assistant street and traffic manager as compared to a supervisor that's in the water area who has less responsibilities than this piece, is paid about $15,000 less. So what I'm proposing is that we just adjust this salary comparable to what another employee in the same, basically the same responsibilities, but actually less employees. They don't want, they're not required to work nights. There's a lot of things that go into this, but so we're asking just for a one-time adjustment in this one position.
Okay. Any discussion from the committee? Entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion by Barker. Second by Labutus. Any other discussion from the committee or the audience? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of sending this on to full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Same sign. All those opposed, same sign. Passes 5-0. And this personnel committee stands adjourned. Full council will resume here at 7 o'clock. Thank you.